With me, I have Miss Frida Dixon. She is Shaw University Child Development's director, and so I will be interviewing today. So thank you so much for being here. So I just wanted to ask, could you tell us a little bit about your job position and your years of experience here?
My years of experience here at Shaw University Child Development Center is like 3 years going on 4. However, I have experience with child care for about 20, maybe 30 years. Working with Head Start, which is in Martin County, which is in Williamston, North Carolina. I had experience with them working from teacher in the classroom up to lead teacher, promoted to a child development specialist. When I was the child development specialist, I did dual role, being a case manager and then a supervisor of the classroom at the same time. So that means that I enrolled the parents into the program, making sure their needs were met, making sure they have goals, making sure they did everything they need as part of the family service part of the job. Then also at the education, where the supervisor of the teachers, I also made sure the teacher was in compliance with the lesson plan, meeting daycare licensing, regulation and stuff like that, teaching in the classroom. So there was like 36 children that we dealt with in that small setting. After that, I was promoted to education manager. Being the education manager for Head Start, I was the manager for 3 counties, which was Martin, Beaufort, and Pitt County. We had 547 children that we served. I had 5 supervisors, 2 lead teachers. We had 7 centers within the 3 counties. One county, which was Martin County, had a total of 181 children. Beaufort County had 96 children. Then Pitt County had the bulk of the other children, where the center was split up with 20 and 20, 84, and then 121. So it was like 547 children. And being an education manager, I had worked in a partnership with nutrition, health, disabilities, transportation, and all of those components, making sure that whatever children was enrolled, we had to do the Dial 3 screenings. I was responsible for setting up those screenings for all 547 children. Also, I had in part of the position, I had to make sure that we met the TSG goals, making sure that the children was in the alignment where they need to be as far as growth for the center. I was responsible for school readiness plan. I had to present to our counterparts, those that was on the board, where we are as far as educational status and how we are growing. I also had to talk about the teacher weaknesses and find trainers for them to be able to address those areas of weakness that they were experiencing when teaching children. 2 of the things that we were experiencing that was very low was that science and math was a counterpart that children scored lower in. So we had a person that implemented math, how to do fun things with children and teaching math, and so they came in to do a training. After that, those scores went up. Then I was also a class observer, meaning that I had to go and watch the teachers to see how their language are with the children, if they're spelling in words, and things like that. I was also a mother-father-read facilitator, where I had to provide training to the parents to work on different issues of communication, trust, safety, any kind of issue that they were experiencing, and I had to facilitate that. Also, I had to follow. Yes, I also did staff development plan, where any teacher or all staff every year would say what their plans were, if they were going to continue their education or they was not. We had to make sure that we met the expectation of the Head Start Bureau rules that teachers about a year or so, certain time, would have to have their degree in the BA field if they want to continue to teach. Also, it was just a lot. It was when I said 547 children, and I traveled mostly every day, so I just made a route that I hit this center at this time, and then and go around. So it was a lot that I had to do, and then we had to do staffing. What we do with staffing is like progress notes that you talk to the parents first, and then when you go into staffing, you share with the staff what you do with the children. If the children can count their names, how many they can count, they know their ABCs, they know the sounds, they know the shapes, they know the colors. So those things were done, and then we do recruitment. We also went to other centers with other neighborhood community programs to help them also to get in the lead that they need to be.
Wow. You have so much experience, and I admire you for everything that you do in the education field, because it's so needed. So could you tell me why you chose this field? Why do you feel you're so passionate with children and your staff, faculty? Why do you feel like this was your calling?
Well, as I was growing up, I knew it was 3 fields that I would go into. One was education, one was nursing, and the other one was nutrition. So I always had balanced myself with those three ideas when I was coming up. So when I took classes in school, it already related to education, nutrition, or either nursing. And I think what really kept me in education is because I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandparents couldn't read and write. So my grandfather may have had a first grade experience, and my grandmother may have had a first grade experience or either kindergarten experience. So my grandmother learned how to write her name, but my grandfather had to sign his name by the X. So, you know, when people write their name with an X, you had to have a witness to say this is his X that he made. So that's what taught me, put me into the move of being in education, so that nobody would be deprived for learning. It doesn't matter about the color, the race, or the skin. It's just that learning is important. So, and I started learning. Well, my grandfather was a janitor, and so they would throw away books, and I would go across the street and get the books. And most of the thing that I really learned was the spelling book, and I learned how to spell the word, pronounce the word, and then listen at the syllables. And I kind of like self-taught myself. So when I was able to start reading, a lot of mail that my grandparents received, I would end up reading for them. I would go shopping and stuff like that for them, because you know they didn't have the way to do it.
It's the little things that make an impact on our life, and that's an incredible story. What advice would you have for someone choosing this career, pursuing this career?
When you choose a career in education, you really can't. Well, not can't, but you cannot look at the aspect of making money, but you need to get paid. But you look at it in investment. That's what you do. You invest in somebody else's life, like somebody invests in you. Sometimes you have good teachers, sometimes you have bad teachers. But the teacher that stuck with you through the thick and thin when you have problems, those are the teachers that you remember. And so education has to be a passion. You have to love it. Sometimes the children come to all kinds of background, and you can't put your feeling on the sleeve because of that child is hollering and crying and you don't understand why. But if you get to that child level and say, come on, talk to me and let me know what's going on, what you do for them might be a safe haven. So, and that's what got me into this field.
Well, thank you for choosing this field. We need more people like you. So could you describe, just to finish off here, could you describe a typical day for you? Like the different tasks. I know you have a lot on your plate. Being a director requires a lot of responsibility. But just for someone who's interested, just to know a little bit about what you do throughout the day and stuff like that.
One thing about being a director is not also meeting the education aspect to be a director. But when you're being a director, you have to be equipped or learning all the ropes of being of the center. Sometimes you might have to come in, you might have to be the secretary, you might have to be the greeter, you might have to be the counselor, you might end up have to be a teacher, or you might have to be the cook. then sometimes you might not, you might end up being a janitor. So you probably have seen me do some of those things that I greet, I cook, I do some of everything. And my thing of it is that I want people to enjoy work when they come. You'll get productive life. You'll put out to the children. If you're working in a hostile environment, you won't produce what you need to produce for the children to learn. So if I make you happy and satisfied when you come in, then you produce for the children to learn, and the children don't have to reap what you feeling. So that's one of the things that I do as being a director, and that's what I set my mind to say, who can I help, or what can I do today to help somebody else load the beat.
That's right. And just having a service, you have a very servant heart, and I see that throughout the day. And just being flexible, and being able to meet everyone's needs, and that's.
Sometimes you want to pull your hair out. Like, so, you're meeting people needs, their hair complaints, you're getting phone calls, you're getting emails, you're getting, can I speak to you this minute, can you speak to me that minute and stuff. And I just learned how to just count down and calm down and just say, what I'm doing, I have 30 days to do.
Yeah.
So if somebody needs me right now and it's important to them, then I try to listen. Sometimes I put them on hold for a minute, but other than that, I try to be very attentive because it might be a life-saving moment.
That's right. Well, there you have it. We have Miss Frida Dixon, the director at Shaw University Child Development Center, and I hope you enjoyed our interview. Thank you.